I like to don't touch your 401k.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm back with Mike and Tyler, and we're gonna get into the discussion of how do you fund your franchise. Tell me about those coins, Tyler. How do we get those coins?
I love it. How do you get money? Yeah, that's a tough question, right? Here's how we're gonna do it. So we can do it a couple different ways. You're looking at item 7, right? So item 7 is gonna be the investment range, okay? So when you're looking at the franchise disclosure document, item 7 is the investment range. Round number $200,000. So we know our investment's gonna be, let's say, $200,000. And then you gotta figure out how you're gonna fund it. So there's several ways we can do that. Let's talk first about a traditional bank loan, right? You can walk into your local bank and say, I want $200,000. And they're gonna say, okay. And then you're gonna probably do 20% down, show them the business plan, go through that. Now here's the disclaimer here. If you do that, typically that local bank will go to the SBA and get a secure loan. So if a local bank does that, then SBA is gonna secure a portion of that loan. So most banks will do that. If you're dealing with a local bank, a lot of times they don't know how to work with the SBA very well. So that's a problem. So then you got a bigger bank, let's say it's more of a regional or a larger bank like a Wells Fargo. They do a lot of SBA loans, but there's a lot more red tape involved. So that's something that's a little bit sticky as well. Or you can go to, there's some middlemen that are like consultants essentially. And what they do is they deal specifically with the SBA, and then they go out and shop your loan out to these banks. Mm-hmm. So that's a better option. There'll be a fee associated with it, but a better option. We'll link up down below a couple companies that we work with. So that would be your other option as far as SBA, and then SBA has different types of loans as well. So I'll turn it over to you, maybe hit on the next thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is also private money. We've talked about multiple videos about going out and getting investors, right? There are people always looking to deploy their capital, and either they don't want to put in stocks or, real estate is up and down or whatever. And they go, look, I'm just looking for a return. So there's a lot of people. It sounds crazy, right? When I was a first business owner, I'm like, God, finding the money is the hard part, right? What you'd notice is it's a lot about your network and building people long-term that go, hey, I got a business plan, I got chops to pull it off. You got money, you need to deploy it. Yep. So, and we have another video that talks about like how to partner and structure that, but there's a lot of money out there. People are looking for a good return. Now you gotta make it good for them as well, right? If they can stick it into, an index fund and make 8%, you gotta find a way to beat that. Whether it's equity, a higher interest rate, perks, whatever. But there's a ton of money out there. Start with your network.
Yep.
So I know a lot of our clients come from the corporate world. I mean, I've been a corporate employee since I was 18, and I've always been told, even by the ancestors, don't touch your 401k. So, tell me about the ROBS program or the system or how that works and why it can be a benefit for some people.
Yeah, it's a really untapped resource for a lot of people, but ROBS is rolling over your 401k. So you can access your 401k. It's like moving from one job to another, right? So let's say you're at job company A, you get a new job, you're at company B, you want to take your 401k and roll it over, right? But you're going to roll it over to your business, your company now, and then you're going to access that through shares, and then they're going to deposit that money in your account. So just think of it that way. Company A, company B, you're moving. This is now the company B that I own. This is how I access it. And it's a pretty slick process, and there's some fees associated to it. But man, if you're worried about your 401k, stock market all over the place, or if you want a better return, what better way to do it is just do it yourself.
Better return and better control, right? That's the ultimate thing is traditional 401ks, you are investing in things that you have zero control in. Mm-hmm. That scares me, right? Maybe it's because I've been an entrepreneur. I always like to have the control. Being able to take that money and take control of it, put it into a business that you control the return. You want to do better, you work harder. You make pivots, whatever. You don't hope Elon gets off of Twitter and make sure that he doesn't screw something up, right?
Doge.
Yeah, you gotta make sure that it's in something that's safe, and in my mind, there's nothing safer than in my hands.
Being in control, yep.
And I think a lot of it is, most people don't know about it, right? Most people don't know about it. They think, if I pull it out of my 401, I'm gonna pay early penalties, I'm gonna pay all these taxes. No, that's what the ROBS program is there for, is to put that back into small business versus everyone's 401k funding monstrous companies that you're never gonna touch. It now funds small local businesses that add to the community.
Yeah, good point. So a couple other high level options here would be portfolio loans. There are companies who you can take, let's say you got a $2 million stock portfolio. If you wanna not access that and you want to have a loan against it, you can do that as well. Lines of credit. So sometimes if you have a relationship with a bank, you can walk into a bank and be like, hey, I want a $200,000 line of credit. They'll do that as well. That's another option. HELOCs, yep. Pulling out money of your house, your properties. What else are we missing? I mean, always paying cash if you got a couple $100,000 in bank, that's always an option too. Write the check, get it going. And one thing that people don't think about is, if you want to get going faster, write that check if you have that cash, and then you can come back and take that loan against your business later. Like that's another option if you want to get going faster. Now there's some risk involved with that. Like, what if the business doesn't look good on paper and you can't get a loan? But I have a lot of people who do that. They'll go ahead, pay cash for it, then say, okay, I'm gonna get a loan for even maybe a partial amount or a line of credit after the business is open. That's another option as well.
And some clarity around an item 7. You are not, no matter how you're funding, you are not writing a check, whether it's through your bank loan or your personal account, you're not writing a check for your whole item 7 day one.
Right.
That's got operational capital in there, it's got payroll in there, it's got all this kind of stuff. So a lot of people see that number and go, oh my God, how am I gonna find that? And we've come up with a lot of ways on how to find it, but also understanding the timing makes sense.
Yep.
Now, you don't wanna put your last dime into the business and then not have money to put into the tank to go run the business, right? So that's why those item 7s have a range, and go, hey, this is the cheapest you can get in, this is the most expensive. And a lot of that is how much cushion people put in and how much they want to accelerate it, right? If you go in and you're bootstrapping every single thing and you are understaffed and you are under marketing and all that kind of stuff because you didn't get a big enough loan, that's an issue. So don't be afraid to pull out good debt, right?
Yep.
Good debt is how you thrive in the business.
Yep. So financing a business, there's plenty of options. Rely on your advisor to help with that as well. And we're going to link up some show notes, some different resources that we have put together. But please reach out to your advisor. They can guide you in this process. We're not the experts, but we can do and we can coach on how to find those right people to do that.